the champion, and she's raced up and gone to the lead around the home turn now. Black Caviar put paid to Zeddy Knight, and then Doubtful Jack, but the crowd roaring for one of the greats of the world. Into the straight she comes, Black Caviar, opening up by 3 lengths. Zeddy Knight boxing on well, but here she is, 17 straight, the invincible one. Black Caviar won it by 3.
That was Black Caviar. This is Blinkers Off, everyone's favorite 30-minute horse racing program. 17 for 17. Luke Nolan never moved a muscle. Black Caviar off of the nearly 3-month layoff scores as the 1-20 favorite. 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific time in Australia. And again, it's going to be an aggressive campaign for her over the next couple of months. Scheduled to see her next February 10th, Caulfield, then February 24th, then maybe the Dubai World Cup undercard in the Golden Shaheen. We have a lot to cover. Again, international flavor to this morning's Blinkers Off. And right now I'd like to welcome the co-host for the next 30 minutes. Joining me right now from somewhere in England, he's chief correspondent, Timeform. He's Jamie Lynch. Jamie, how are you?
I'm fine, Matt. Thanks. Good morning to you.
Yeah, so again, I'm sure you watched Black Caviar, I'm guessing, right? You were glued to the television to watch one of the
Absolutely, we were all there.
Supreme athletes that we have in our game around the world do her thing once again. You know, not really a surprise, right? I mean, as good as she is, I mean, she can do what she did today against better competition, but this was not a real good group. But, you know, 1-20, she did what she was supposed to do.
Yeah, it's all about preparation with her because she's got a big summer coming ahead. Principally, we're thinking about coming over to Royal Ascot to take on some of the best sprinters that there are in Europe. Now, that's the really key point with her. Can she do it on another stage? And by our reckoning, absolutely she can. She's rated 135 with Timeform, and that is pretty remarkable for any filly or mare to be rated like that. And I can tell you that in the 70 or so years that Timeform has been going, only 2 fillies or mares have ever been rated higher than Black Caviar. So that tells you the sort of mark she's at.
Yeah, and what do you think if she goes to Dubai, Golden Shaheen, she's going to have to probably deal with Sepoy for Godolphin, whom's 10 for 11 in his career, had a gutty win in his last start. He won by a head, given some time off after that. And when he goes in the Golden Shaheen, it'll be his first start in 5 months, which I'm thinking would be a tall order against a runner like Black Caviar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a tall order regardless of the circumstances. But I suppose that one thing he has got on his side is that he's out there and acclimatising as we speak. So when Sepoy's out there, he's never faced Black Caviar before, but he'll have the advantage of being acclimatised, whereas Black Caviar will be going out there, not cold as such, because she's obviously strutting her stuff now. But next for Black Caviar is 7 furlongs. She's going up to 7 furlongs. And that's what Peter Moody, the trainer, has said, with a view to just testing the water, whether she gets that stiff 6, because the 6 furlongs for the big races in Britain are on a stiff track. They're a different scenario to what she's normally faced. So it's all about testing the water with her, getting her up to speed for a bigger targets ahead, and really showcasing her on an international stage. It's a big thing with her.
All right, Jamie, we're gonna take a quick commercial timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the great horses in the world, Orfevre. We're going to talk about the great Frankel as well. And we'll even look ahead to the World Cup a little bit and talk about some of the American runners, such as Royal Delta, Animal Kingdom, and Game On Dude. You are watching Blinkers Off. Don't go anywhere. A little international flavor. And again, began with Black Caviar doing her thing earlier this morning.
TVG Thursday through Saturday. Join New Jersey's own Tom Cassidy for harness action from the Meadowlands. Watch and wager on the world's greatest harness racing. Meadowlands Racing, Thursday through Saturday. First post, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Today, bet Oaklawn's Pick 4. Bet it to earn 4 times wager rewards points. Follow the action as TVG's Frank Miramati calls all the races from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Earn 4 times points all month long. Bet it and get free PPs at TVG.com.
And they're off.
Hey, did you know that with TVG you can actually bet on horse racing from home? That's right, it's easy. Open an account now by going to TVG.com and simply click on Sign Up Now. You can place your first bet in minutes. $50 is all you need to get started. You can use your credit or debit card or direct deposit. You can also call 1-888-PLAY-TVG to sign up by phone. Then you're ready to go. But here's the best part. Now you can place your bets and watch the races live on TVG.
They turn for home at 3 parts of a length in front.
It's the excitement of horse racing and the thrill of betting from your own living room. Go to TVG.com or call 1-888-PLAY-TVG. TVG, the Interactive Horse Racing Network.
The TVG Saturday Spotlight Race. Join us for the Affectionately from Aqueduct. Brought to you by Distorted Humor, leading 2011 sire, the Saturday Spotlight on TVG.
Could you use an extra $500 or $1,000 fast? Sometimes you need a little short-term help for bills, car repairs, or just some extra money until your next payday. You can get the cash you need fast, and it's so easy. Call now, apply in 5 minutes, and get an instant approval. Whether you've got bad credit or have been turned down by other lenders, call Payday Panda now. We work with over 60 lenders to match you with the one that fits your cash needs in one easy application. It's your money, so use it for anything you want.
Welcome back to Blinkers Off. We discussed Black Caviar a little bit, and we're doing so with Jamie Lynch, chief correspondent for Timeform, who's in England right now. Jamie, World Cup, it's really not that far away. We're only a couple of months away from the Dubai World Cup, March 31st, Medan Racecourse in Dubai. And, you know, you always get, horses from everywhere in this race, and some horses from the U.S. Interesting to me because, you see horses that, haven't raced in a while. Animal Kingdom, last start, a sixth-place finish in the Belmont Stakes here on June 11th. Horse who obviously won the Kentucky Derby, second to Shackelford in the Preakness, and here is that big win in the Kentucky Derby. But Jamie, this is a horse that they might get, a race in this horse in Animal Kingdom in the Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap, February 11th. But it's a tall order, isn't it? You maybe one start from June to the World Cup. And first start versus maybe second start versus older horses as well. We know we can handle the synthetic surface, but still, it's going to be difficult for a horse like Animal Kingdom, I would think, to win a race like that.
Yeah, at the same time, though, I think that he's the one probably out of the Americans who interests me most, and that's because we kind of know how good the rest are because they were on the go all of last season.
That's a good point.
Whereas Animal Kingdom, because of that injury he suffered, he was put away for the season, and he's still got a bit of potential.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
The key point, I think, with all these American horses is that, you guys have won the Dubai World Cup 8 times, and that's a pretty staggering amount. With only been 16 runnings, the American horses have won it 8 times, but none of the main contenders this year match up to what the previous ones did. So something's going to have to step up.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think Animal Kingdom has huge potential, giant ceiling. I mean, his win in the Derby was pretty remarkable. He's apparently training really well. He worked 59-4, I think, over at Palmettos in Florida, just on the 25th of January. So, yeah, I think the upside is there with Animal Kingdom. He's doing well. We know how good Grant Motion is. So You Think came over and ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic this past year at Churchill Downs in 2011. And, a lot of people questioned Dirt, and with good reason. He finished 6th in the race. But obviously now at Medan, it's a synthetic situation. And, So You Think, when he's right, he's really, really good. Borderline great. 1.25 miles is a perfect distance for him. This horse has won 8 Group 1s. That's a hard thing to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's strange to be talking about a horse who is rated, 132 with us and has won 8 Group 1s. And yet, last season, it was just a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? Certainly in Europe and again in America. And it's odd to talk about this, but So You Think has a bit to prove, actually, if he does go to Dubai. And it's really good that he is going to Dubai, actually, because there was a time when the Ballydoyle contingent didn't really support the whole Dubai Carnival. But that changed last year. He had a few winners. And it sounds as if So You Think is an intended runner. And if he goes there, yes, I think that we can say he is the best horse going there. But I said he was the best horse going into the Classic as well. And do you believe that he didn't really handle the debt?
Yeah, well, his 6th place finish at Churchill last year, I thought it was a pretty mediocre performance against a bad group. The problem for the U.S. horses, as I'll finish with them, is the fact that now that it's at Medan, now that it's synthetic, it's just that's a big negative for them. And you look at the last two winners. You've had some prices though. Gloria de Campio, first start at Meydan in the World Cup, 25-1. Victoire Pisa at 17-1. I think now it's on synthetic. More difficult for the U.S. runners. And Royal Delta's probably going to go game on dude. Probably going to go as well from the U.S. Well, we talked about Black Caviar at the top of the show. So we need to talk about the other horse. I mean, I guess these are the two best horses in the world now, Black Caviar and the undefeated Frankel, who is not, he's still a few months away from coming back, right, Jamie? He's coming back, I guess, in a little lock-in at Newbury on the 15th of May. And, you know, after that race, Royal Ascot, and we know how talented this horse is and how great he is, what his Timeform numbers have been, at a mile. You know, they're pointing, they talked about it a little bit last year, I think, the Breeders' Cup Classic, but that's the goal this year. Breeders' Cup Classic, 1.25 miles dirt at Santa Anita. Do you think they go in the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot, a race that Goldakova has dominated a mile, or do you think they find out what they have at 1.25 miles and go in the Prince of Wales?
Yeah, well, he has got options, and he certainly will go to 1.25 miles at some point this year. And that's the new challenge with him. I suppose both him and Black Caviar, they've got new challenges this year. To be an absolute great, I think you've got to do it over a variety of trips. And you've also got to do it overseas. And both have got that aim this year. It's unfortunate that Black Caviar is coming to Europe, while Frankel is going up in trip, because what we all wanted was the big clash between Black Caviar and Frankel. But interestingly, I was at a function which involved the Judmont European racing manager, Teddy Beckett, Lord Grimthorpe, and he said, I think the only matchup you'll see between Frankel and Black Caviar is in the breeding sheds. So that tells you that I doubt that they'll meet, but can you imagine that? Can you imagine that offspring one day? But Frankel is, what we're hoping for Frankel is, he is currently, there's only 3 horses in the history of Timeform ever been rated higher than him. What we want Frankel to do, what we're desperate for him to do, is to run to 146, which would make him the greatest racehorse in our history. And we think he can do that at some point. But as you say, it is this year. It's all building up towards America. And I think it's sort of written in the stars. This horse was named after Bobby Frankel. I think that the owner is keen to showcase him to the American audience. And it's just fingers crossed that he gets there. And if he does get there, I promise you'll see something special.
Yeah, they might surpass Carolyn and Rachel Alexander. They just had a baby this past week together. You know, in the atmosphere at Royal Ascot, I imagine, I've never been there, I'm sure you've been there several times, many times, is got to be incredible. But I'm guessing this year with Frankel and maybe Black Caviar coming there, it's going to be nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about both horses. They've both captured the imagination of the public in their respective countries and made headlines all over the world. And that's the great thing about these two. They're exceptional horses, and they're starting to penetrate the front pages of the news and not only the back pages. And for example, Black Caviar's final run of last season at Flemington, there was 85,000 people there. That's virtually unheard of outside of Melbourne Cup Day. And Frankel this year, on Champions Day at Ascot, they reckon that he put at least 10,000-15,000 extra bodies in the gate when normally they wouldn't expect that. So you can guarantee that Royal Ascot, with Black Caviar and with Frankel and with all the support that they've got, it will be absolutely jammed.
All right, speaking of other great horses, and Jamie, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to call you out right now, because we're going to talk Orfevre right now, who won the Japan Triple Crown. He's won 6 in a row, hasn't lost in a year, was not the unanimous consensus horse of the year. And I don't understand why you didn't vote for him. I just don't understand how there were 284 individuals voted Orfevre Horse of the Year, and then you said no. I just think that's wrong.
Well, we can only rate these horses. You've stitched me up here, Matt. I know you have. We can only rate these horses on what the best performance is. And Victoire Pisa won the Dubai World Cup, and probably the richest race in the world. That performance in itself is better than anything that Orfevre has actually done individually in these races.
Well,
now,
I was kind of kidding around. Now you're going to rip the horse on your own. Okay.
Yeah, but 6 in a row is exceptional. That versatility is really good, because this horse won the Japanese Triple Crown, essentially, won the Guineas, the Derby, and then stretched out as far as 15 furlongs in the Japanese St. Leger. Now, we actually arrived at those ratings before this horse, Orfevre, had its last run. That was on Christmas Day. And yeah, that's its best performance, and certainly a match for what Victoire Pisa did. So maybe if we could revisit them, yep, we might be with you in favour of Orfevre.
Wow, bulletin board material for the connections of Orfevre. Watch out,
and just
Jamie.
a quick point.
He's coming for you in the Arc. He's coming for you in the Arc later this year in October.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There was talk about him coming for the Dubai World Cup, but obviously such a big race so early in the season can damage the rest of the campaign, especially when you're involved shipment. So what they've said is they've got one aim this year, that's the Arc de Triomphe. And Japan have gone close in the Arc de Triomphe before. It's generally speaking, it's the territory of the European horses. But with a horse like him, yes, he's not exceptional in ratings terms, but in terms of what he's actually achieved in his race record, he'd come to the Arc with a big chance, I think. And now he will have a big following, because whenever the Japanese have a runner in the Arc, then Paris is absolutely flooded.
Basically, what you get from this segment that we just completed is the fact that it's an exciting time in racing in 2012 when you have stars like Frankel, stars like Black Caviar, stars like Orfevre coming from all different parts of the world. And even in the U.S., we had a down year in 2011. The best horses, by and large, that we had in 2011 were back in training and competing in 2012. And I tried to compete last weekend in terms of selections. I don't think I competed particularly well. And here's a look at the recaps from last week. Second for Rich Perloff. I was a solid fifth at 17-1. The Pippin lost by a head with Tizmisu. She's all in, kind of a distant third. And Pepsi Cola, wow. At least Rich was bad with a 21-1 shot. I was horrible with a 3-1 shot. Play of the day last Saturday, survey says. Drum roll, drum roll. Oh, wow. I might have had a scratch in terms of the play of the day. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right, because they canceled racing in New York last Saturday, and minus $7.30. Jamie, not horrendous, as we're about to round out the month, and I'm going to do a little handicapping on my own here in a little bit. But first, we're going to switch gears from superstar runners to from a wagering standpoint. Let's talk exchange wagering right now a little bit, something that I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with. First of all, it's kind of a basic question. For those viewers right now that are watching, that are horse players, have done this a long time, they know nothing, literally nothing about exchange wagering. How would you describe it to somebody who's really never heard of it?
It's essentially, Matt, it's me and you. It's when I was on before the Breeders' Cup and I said to you, Goldikova definitely wins again, and you said, I'm not so sure, I'm not sure she's got the legs. All we could do about that was I could go away and have a wager on Goldikova to win. You might back something else in the race, unknown, not knowing exactly what price you're going to get, and hopefully backing the winner. But with the exchange, it can be me and you, and we can put our money where our mouth is regards our opinion. So I might say to you, will you give me 2-1 about Goldikova? And you'll say, yeah, I'll give you that, I'll risk that. And if Goldikova wins, then I get $20 off you. If Goldikova gets beat, then I'll hand over $10 to you. And it's that's the principle of the exchange, only it's not just me and you. It's like a room full of enthusiasts, all putting the money in, all got in their individual ideas and opinions. And it generates this amazing marketplace where when you've got that sort of level of competition, it inevitably brings about a better deal for the consumer. So essentially, it's just a trading exchange, just like the stock exchange. You fix the odds. You say what price you want to back this horse at, and the exchange will match it for you.
Well, I mean, even people in the States, we you hear people talk about, it's all about value. It's all about value. But I don't think a lot of the players really necessarily practice what they preach. They say it's about value, but then they bet a horse that offers no value. This really is all about value. And you like a horse at 6-1, but maybe he's 4-1 in terms of odds, but somebody else will offer you that 6-1. You'll bet with the exchange at 6-1 as opposed to the track odds at odds of 4-1. Doesn't it make you just a stronger, sharper handicapper to begin with? Because we should make our own morning line odds for every race we handicap anyways. It sort of forces you to put value on every horse in the field when maybe you wouldn't if you didn't have the exchange wagering.
That's exactly right, and it's using that judgment and using that morning line price and then being able to express it in the best way you possibly can. It's maximising your choice to make some money out of this race. So you don't necessarily have to back a single horse.
Yeah.
You can back it not to win. That's the thing. You can back it not to win, or you can wait. And if you feel that a horse is the wrong price, if you think, well, this horse is 7-1 this morning, I think it's going to go off more like 3-1, then you can take some action. You can get that 7-1 there and then, so you know exactly what position you're in. You're in a really strong trading position, and it's going to really, it's a really exciting thing. It's changed the whole face of the way we bet in Britain, and it will do the same to you. It'll bring a whole lot of competition and value.
How long has it been around in England, and is it even bigger than what people anticipated? It's huge over there right now, isn't it? It's been around for how long?
It's been around for about 10 years, and now there's an awful lot of money being traded on every single race. It's hundreds of thousands in even the everyday races, and then when you get to the bigger races, inevitably there's more eyes on it, there's more competition, and you're talking millions being traded in a race just because people want to get that edge and find that edge. And like I say, it's all about maximising the choice. You've got the choice, you've got the options, something that I understand you don't really have out there in America at the minute, the way you wager. But in this way, you can put yourself in the strongest position possible.
And real quickly, people always complain about the high takeouts as well. And obviously, when it comes to exchange wagering, I mean, you don't have to deal with those real high takeouts that you have to deal with normally.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very small commission that's taken out because they hold your bet. So it's essentially, it's your money against mine. It's everyone's just playing the money together. And that way, yeah, that's it. And there's no big, there's no chunk takeout of the actual profit at the end. So honestly, it really is all good, and we'd be excited about it. And hopefully we might talk more again and go into a bit more detail about how this thing actually works, how you would make money out of it using a specific race. But exciting times, Matt, both on the horse racing front and on the wagering front. Yeah,
I think it's sort of it could be a renaissance that in this country, I think, for the racing industry that is greatly needed. Good segue, by the way, go into more detail, because we're actually going to do that at TVG later on. It's going to be a long day for you. You watch Black Caviar do her thing. You'll be watching the Racing Roundtable. They will be going into further detail on exchange wagering. That's 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time. Email or send a video link of your exchange wagering questions to our TVG panel of executives. Roundtable at TVG.com. I heard Todd mention yesterday, Todd Trupp, who's the host and moderator of that program, that scheduled to be 30 minutes, but I'm thinking with all the questions they're going to receive, it might bleed over. You might have a 45-hour edition of the Racing Roundtable later on this evening, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Jamie Lynch, Chief Correspondent for Timeform, always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thank you, Matt. It's a privilege talking to you.
Jamie Lynch, giving us great information when it comes to the likes of Frankel and some of the great horses over in Europe as well, and somebody who knows a little bit about exchange wagering as well. So appreciate Jamie's input. And I'm going to do a little handicapping. On my own here right now, and I will begin with our spotlight race from New York. And I'm expecting a sloppy racetrack at Aqueduct on Saturday. Not cold enough for snow, but I think rain today, Friday, and rain into Saturday. And this is a field of 5 in this race. And why am I going with a 15-1 shot in a 6-horse field, biggest prize in the morning line? Because I just think this race is absolutely wide open. I don't care for anybody all that much. So why not go with a sharp horse that, to me, makes a little bit of sense, stepping up in class, that has won his last 2 races, including this win by 8 3/4 lengths. Not favored, wins at 6-1, wins at 4-1 at Charlestown. So she's gotten good right now, and a filly fairly lightly raced at her best, in her current form that she's in. And it'll be interesting to see what Todd Pletcher has planned for Junior Alvarado, who's aboard the 1, and Cornelio Velasquez aboard the 2. He trains them both. They're the 2 fastest horses in this race, both trained by Pletcher. So I think they could actually hook up somehow right next to each other. We'll see if Bahia Beach can pull the upset winner, 3rd in a row, biggest prize morning line. Evening attire race. It was scheduled to be run last Saturday. As I mentioned earlier, they were snowed out in New York a week ago, and I want revenge. I guess I'll use the same stat that I used with Rich Perloff last Friday when I was making a case against him. He hasn't won in 33.5 months. Is he the class of this field? Yes. But do you want a horse that's probably going to be 4-5 who hasn't won a race in nearly 3 years? I don't think so. Redding Collery is a horse that I know Rich liked last weekend. And the horse that I liked initially is not in this race, A2 Fast to Catch. Now it's just a field of 5. I think Jiminator, the horse that won 3 of 4 races, and then had a terrible trip when he lost to Heart Butte at Parks Racing on the 31st of December. This horse was stopped for a long period of time. So kind of a horse who likes to win races. High percentage barn Mike Trombetta in good form, and I think is a major excuse as to why Hart Butte beat him in his last start. He was a shorter price and had a horrible trip in that race. So I will go with Jiminator, a couple of prices in New York. Oaklawn Park, I think they'll have a fast track on Saturday for the King Cotton, $50,000 event. Another short field of 5. And there is your morning line. You know, Amazing Destiny hasn't raced in nearly 3 months. This is a horse I gave a big shot to in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, in which Amazombie beat Force Freeze, and arguably the most exciting race on the Saturday program. You know, I don't know. I think he's a little vulnerable. I think he's at his best at Churchill. His record at Oaklawn isn't great. You have the layoff as well, and you have River Bear, whom is my pick, who's just a sharp racehorse. I know he crushed on Synthetic in his last start, but it was an impressive win. He ran very well at Hawthorne his last time sprinting on dirt, 3 starts back. So I will go with River Bear for the minor upset with Terry Thompson in the King Cotton. And then the Forgo, finally a huge field to discuss. Field of 12, and I'm guessing Hollywood hit 3-1 morning line. How do you thought his last start? The Hollywood Charmer at Turfway, he was your 2-1 favorite. He missed the break. This is a horse who usually goes right to the front. He was 7th at first call. He's not as good as he used to be. He was an elite sprinter a couple of years back. But still, he showed some pace versus Essence Hitman a couple of starts ago. Essence Hitman really one of the fastest horses around. So on class, he's going to be tough to catch. But Live from Apollo, who's very, very sharp right now. Who did he lose to in his last start? My selection, the King Cotton River Bear. So I'll go with Live from Apollo. Minute left in the program. Play of the day. Let's get out the value meter. 5-1 morning line on Rain King. Expecting a rainy day in New York. This horse is 1 for 3 with 2 seconds over a wet track. 5-1 morning line. I think with the lack of pace in this race, with some short price horses like Raison d'Etat that I think are very, very vulnerable, I think that 5-2 is really fair on Rain King. The only other pace really is Galib, who is inside, a sprinter stretching out. I think Rain King can go right to the front. He's been facing better horses. He comes out of the Claiming Crown Jewel at the fairgrounds. And again, 2 for 2 over the inner dirt at Aqueduct as well. 1 for 13 when he's away from the inner dirt. So because of the pace, because of the conditions, I think it'll be sloppy. And because this race is run over a track that he's 2 for 2, and I'm not crazy about some of the 2 morning line favorites in this race, I will go with Rain King. I like him at 5-1, 9-2, 4-1, 7-2, 3-1, down to 5-2. That is it for Blinkers Off. I'd like to thank Jamie Lynch once again for joining us. We will do it next time, and next time will be February 3rd, next edition of Blinkers Off.